Good morning guys, James here from Sunseeker Southampton, down in a very sunny Flybridge Yacht Harbour at Dover Marina. Today we're going to look around a Pearl 55. Now we toured one of these a couple of years back. It was one of the most highly watched videos on the channel and it's easy to see why. These are absolutely cavernous inside. If you're looking for the ultimate country cottage on the water here on the south coast, these really do offer an absolutely amazing solution. Now this one is different. It's not the one that was on the channel before. She is privately owned by a couple who've had her for in excess of 15 years. Here always in the UK from new. This one is called Aubear. She was previously in Lymington. The owner's electing to move her here to Flybridge. It is a picturesque little port on the tip of the Isle of Wight, and I'm just walking down the pontoon here so you can take in the side profile. I've had a good look round this morning. The boat's recently been over with us in Swanwick for outer water maintenance work, so she's been anti-fouled, anodes changed, props polished and a lovely hull polish. And you can see this bright white shiny gel coat here, having never been down in the Mediterranean sunshine, really does present extremely well. Now this boat really has been set up for cruising here on the south coast, so we've got a big enclosed canopy on the back here, not set up at the moment. We have a bimini and an enclosed canopy set up for the Flybridge as well, so that sort of gives you year-round usage up there. We've got diesel heating system and a host of other creature comforts to make her really usable all year round. They have giant walk decks down the side. We'll have a look at those in a bit. And on the back here, I haven't taken the cover off this purely as the owner is keeping this for the next boat, but just to give you an idea, this is a Brig 340, so 3.4 metre tender with a 40 horsepower Yamaha, which is picked up by the passerelle cum dinghy crane, which is stowed in the back there. That rotates round, picks it up, puts it in the water, so it shows it is capable of carrying a pretty decent tender if you wish. Pearl, obviously a British brand, now manufactured in the Far East, but this one was built here in the UK. Very, very good quality. We've got lovely stainless steel detailing, handrails everywhere. She's as practical as she is high quality. So let's step on. We've got teak everywhere, so starting to show a little bit of age around the edges, but I have to say still plenty of life left in it at the moment. Not something I'd be doing anything with anytime soon. So we've got teak here on the platform, up the steps, obviously with little LED lights there. As we come up into this brilliant aft cockpit, obviously being a raised aft cabin design in the back here, we get this lovely panoramic view through the back of the boat. You can see why the owners like this cracking mooring at the top of the harbour with the sun going down behind us. Fixed top on the table, you can see the teak finish on that. We've got two stainless steel legs down there, some freestanding furniture, obviously capable of adding some extra chairs in depending on how many of you are on board. Upholstery was done last year and we've got this nice detailing. See the black pinstripe through the cushion there, and the rest of it's done in a Silvertex platinum colour. Sliding door which take us down inside, we'll do that in a bit. And then just worthy note above us here, this is an electric sliding sunroof, so this comes across to the aft end to close off this back deck when required. We've got it open this morning just to give you an idea of what it's like when the weather allows. And then the canopies all roll up. You've got clips around the back for those of you on the south coast. Cover made by Legend JB. Fit the boat extremely well, geared up for our windy weather here, doesn't blow open in the wind, and nice big windows maximising right down to that trailing edge of the gel coat there, just to give you that big view out around you. So we go up and do the Flybridge first. Again, teak steps here taking us up to the centre bridge area. We obviously have an inside and outside driving position, and as we come up here you can see this lovely big social seating here on the port side. Hidden underneath here, if we just lift up the cushions, you can see there is a pop-up teak top table there. Drop that back down, and if you can see, if I just spin around with the camera here, you're really well protected. This windscreen around me here does mean that you're not buffeted by the wind here when you're running. You've got this little return edge on the forward screen. It's a great place to be up next to the captain. Very much geared around an owner operator at this sort of size, weighing in just over 55 feet as you see her. There are a couple of, I say, other tours on the channel to show what they're like running at sea, all with the same engines, which are D12 715 Volvo Penta diesels. We'll just come across here, sit down at the helm to give you a flavour of what we can see. So that's in my eye line, just scanning round. Imagine when you're running. So we've got engine multifunction displays up here showing temperatures and pressures and what have you. We've got a Furuno radar set up, a C120 wide colour chart plotter, and then we have down here the autopilot control. This is a multifunction display as well for speed and depth and what have you. Remote control spotlight. This is the automatic fire extinguisher system, a steering compass, the electric Lenco trim tabs, and of course the obligatory bow and stern thruster for easy docking. A little handy anchor chain counter there as well, and the steering wheel itself has a little tilt button underneath there to give you different driving positions. Volvo's EVC throttles, so they are one finger in and out of gear, very easy for your manoeuvring, and there's a removable VHF handset that's currently downstairs for your ship-to-shore communication. You can imagine with the frame up here, you can see the bimini frame. It does give you full height standing here across the top of the flybridge area. I say, and then there's this windowed style tent arrangement that goes around the edges to give you an additional outdoor seating area when required. So we've got a helm and co-pilot seat here, lots of storage. It's a very practical boat, as we said earlier. Nice little wet bar setup, so we've got hot and cold water, electric griddle, of course, with an onboard generator setup, and then a little fridge. Tricky to do one-handed. There we go. So we've got a fridge with a little ice compartment in the top there, and then a storage cupboard underneath. Again, those LED deck lights coming around the deck here for the evening. We've got a stereo system throughout. Life raft up in the canister there. There's a radar reflector, a TV aerial, and then a rather original setup there with a SATCOM system. So we'll come back down and we'll do the starboard deck here. Got the canopies open. I guess they're geared for usage here. Very easy to get out on the deck. And notice we've got lots of spring cleats along the side. The LED lights again down the deck. Loads of real sturdy stainless steel handrails here. Makes it very safe to walk down. You imagine the decks here. This is the equivalent of a sort of 75-foot yacht, if I'm honest. Doesn't move around at all as we're walking down forward here. And we come up onto the bows. Now the bow cushions obviously weren't changed along with the flybridge and the aft cockpit, but these are fully functional as they are. There's a winter storage cover, black canvas, that sits over there. The windscreens themselves and the side windows here have black mesh window covers, which keep the sun out, keep the interior a little bit cooler. Again, with the teak running down the decks here to all the working deck gear up forward. So we've got anchor winch controls, obviously electric motor, stainless steel anchor, short length of stainless chain before it goes back onto the galvanised. We'll just pop the locker open here so you can see the space down in here. Plenty of room for some extra fenders and what have you, as well as these clever baskets that fold away into the side rails when you've got the fenders deployed over the side. So we'll just have a quick look down here on the port side so you can get an idea again of the condition. The hull has been polished up to the gunwale height here, and there are plans to return the boat to Swanwick in the not too distant future to complete engine servicing so that she's fully ready to go for the 23 season. Worth pointing out, there's a couple of little bits, they'll come up in a survey. Let's say down here you can see teak needs a little bit of caulking replacing, and down here, but on the whole we've still got plenty of thickness to the wood, and I think this will go quite happily for several more seasons yet before you might want to think about perhaps replacing. Electric window here at the lower helm, we'll cover that off when we go inside in a sec. Let's head back round and start to look inside. So sliding door arrangement, this originally with Pearl was an electric mechanism, as is always quite common on these. It does go wrong and gets disconnected as this one is. So it's now a sliding manual door. You can convert it back to electric if you wish, but the engineers will soon tell you that the design is such that it's better to leave it really as a manual setup. We have a couple of granite steps here that take us down into the saloon. So I'm just scanning the camera around here so you can kind of take in all this space. You have to excuse the noise of somebody running an outboard in the marina next door to me, but let's go on down inside. We'll shut the door and give you a sense of what the living accommodation below decks is all about. Now, being of an era, say 2005 build, 2005 model, we have this lovely sumptuous gloss cherry wood interior with lots of little detail throughout. So there's a veneer on the long flat panels here, solid cappings around the edges, slightly different colour on there, cream leather. The carpets have been replaced in a not too distant past. Sofas are original. We've got this little sort of coffee table style arrangement here on the port side, as of course we have a raised dinette up there we'll take a look at in a sec. Window blinds for the back here, obviously the mesh panels we talked about on the windows up there earlier. Diesel heating control, you can see the Webasto unit up on the wall there. UK 3-pin sockets, of course we could change those out if you require to 2-pin if it was going off overseas. The boat also runs an aircon system reverse cycle for those of you that need it on the hotter days. Lots of the lighting's been changed. These have got LED bulbs in for less power consumption. The owner's gradually working their way doing that through the boat. We've got an AV system here. This is all pretty original in here. And very much at that point where an owner perhaps wanted to put the latest and greatest tech in, we could talk you through the various options. So we come up a couple of steps here to what is then the dinette here on the port side. Again, running that same theme of the leather sofas. Leather's all generally in good shape. You can see a little bit of wear around the edges of the bolsters here, but this is all original and being real leather rather than ultra synthetic. It's very soft to sit on. Table, everything is covered up when the boat isn't in use. I've had to take everything off this morning and you can see how well this cherry has aged. Very, very little sun fade. You can see again attention to detail under here. We've got a chart station. The wood is all kept immaculate on the basis that the owners are extremely proud of the boat. You can see the vent up there for the aircon system. Electric window there on the port side, and again, as we mentioned earlier at the lower helm, does give you the option for a bit of ventilation in here without necessarily running the aircon perhaps in a bay and you want to stay quiet. And then opposite the dinette we have the galley here. So raised design rather than as you'd see on a classic boat with the galley down. We have a nice little prep station in the middle here. Fridge and freezer, an oven come griddle, and then we've got a 4-burner electric top on there as well. Twin sinks, we've got a dishwasher, lots of storage in all of these cupboards. It really is great space for making proper onboard meals as required. A couple of cracks, just mention this here in the granite. It is real granite. It's the weight of the stone, I'm told, actually by the engineers that look after the boat, that's actually caused that. Slightly different design on this particular one. As you can see, the sink's been taken out and they've elected to go for more storage. We could actually reinstate the sink here, change the galley top if you wish, and we could put that back to a fresh piece of stone if it bothered you. For many owners that will be absolutely fine. Quite happy to run it as it is, treat it as a bit of a feature on the boat. So accommodation, we are split into 2 separate zones on the boat. We'll come back and do the lower home in a sec. Just going to take you down the stairs here to the guest accommodation. Being an aft cabin, the master is at the back, so we then have 3 guest cabins here forward, and this really is the main selling point of a Pearl 55. There is really very little, if anything, I could tell you on the market that give us the cabin and accommodation space at one of these. You can see here on the port side we have a fixed double. This originally was a pair of twin beds. They removed it on purchase for the current owner where they converted it into the fixed double. They do still have some of the cabinetry and could turn this back into twins if you wish. And we have loads of storage lockers, you can see everywhere as required. Everything from the wall linings, you can see we've got Alcantara up on the roof. I can't see any panels dropped. I can't see window stains from any evidence of leaks. AV system throughout, again big wardrobes there. Boat still in commission with the owners weekend use. Nice little detail in the door there with the Pearl logo, and again, just looking at the carpets, everything is beautifully presented. So we come across to the starboard side, and this one is also, as you see, configured as a double. This is typically their storeroom where the canopies and the cushions that we put out today live when they're out of season. There's a washer machine tucked behind the bulkhead there. Again, you can see your TV up on the wall and bits and pieces for day-to-day usage of the boat. Behind us here, so this is the bathroom to share between those two cabins. Nice stone both on the floor there and on the surround to the basin there. We've got an electric vacuum flush toilet system. Great size shower compartments to show you how big that one is. Pull out shower handset there. Opening windows for good ventilation, stops the condensation and what have you. So those two cabins share that bathroom, and then we come forward to what would be cabin 2 on the boat, a VIP guest cabin as we often talk about it. And it's a centerline double bed. Very Art Deco in here with these detailed rolls up on the top. We've got, again, wardrobe arrangement. Tiny little bit of milkiness on the lacquer here, but very, very hard to pick out. And I'd rather show you on the camera purely as the boat is quite tricky to come and view here in Bembridge, away on the island. And I'd like you to see exactly what we're seeing here today on the camera before jumping in a car to come and see her. So again, on this side, again, a second storage area. Very, very homely, plenty of space to keep your gear here, and then just jump on a ferry as a foot passenger, as they often do, and across here in a little over half an hour. This is the ensuite for the cabin we're in now. You obviously see, as we just did in the previous heads, very, very similar in space. Good size showers, everything is fantastic. Our boat hasn't been prepared for sale. This is how they keep the boat all the time. Absolutely beautifully presented, I have to say. Let's head back up. We'll just do the lower helm here before we go back to the master cabin, and it is pretty much a repeat of what we saw up on the Flybridge. So the same with the C120 wide and the Furuno radar. The engine displays up there. We're reading a little over 600 hours from new. This is a Raymarine handset we talked about earlier. There's a second one of those. AV system and all of the bits to hand. This is a remote control for the bow and stern thrusters, worth mentioning that one. So let's head on back, take a look in the aft cabin. So we have over on the starboard side of the boat this nice twisty stairs, and that takes us down. We'll come back and do the engine room in just a sec, into the master cabin. So the bed is offset. We're looking into the back port handle, back left hand corner of the boat, and this would put many 75-foot yachts to shame. It is an absolutely giant cabin. We run an aft cabin boat ourselves as a family, so you can see lots of the benefits myself. And being in the aft, it's very, very quiet. You can't hear the water slapping on the hull, despite the fact there's a bit of breeze outside today. And we have those beautiful port lights there to let a lot of natural light in. Just show you what the view's like, looking out directly from your pillow in the morning there. So we have blinds on all the windows. Of course, an aircon and a heating system in here. There's a little vanity station over there in the corner, as well as behind the door here. Some great size, huge wardrobes there. Storage drawers in the bottom. Little corner sofa over there. Very, very quiet down here. Quite funky little handrails there with a glass frosted finish. This is like a little laptop desk here, and of course a little TV up on the wall. Then we're in the back right hand or starboard hand corner of the boat here. We have the ensuite. Again, really good size, just under 6 foot myself. You see just plenty of height here, nicely finished, no evidence of mold and condensation and what have you. Works really nicely in here. Show you here in the bathroom. We've got a slightly more upgraded shower in this one. Great size compartment. Batteries on these are all stored under the floor here. I suppose the only downside really to mention on an aft cabin is perhaps sometimes a little lacking in lazarette style storage, as the engines are effectively under the saloon floor. So we just pop the door open here, and you can see obviously from an access point of view, very easy to get in. They are quite tight in here, but for many owners of a boat like this, it's not something other than daily checks that they'll ever have to worry about. Paying a professional to come along, do your servicing and what have you, there is workable space to get round and do all the major functions. So these, say, as we said at the start of the tour, D12 715 horsepower engines. Cruises really nicely around the 16 to 18 knot mark. They will get on and do the upper 20s if you wish. I'm just going to spin around, give you a feel. Generator tucked up on the forward bulkhead there. We've got power sockets in here for heaters in the winter. Fuel tanks are outboard, and all of the electrical and hydraulic systems on the back bulkhead here. These are the exhaust boxes over on the outboard side. This is the lagging around the diesel heating system on the exhaust, and it presents clean and tidy in here. I say the boat is due a service, which the owner's in the process of getting arranged with a local engineering company in Swanwick, who will attend next time the boat is in port. So that's pretty much it for this one. Great opportunity if you want to get on the water for the 23 season. With the ability to move your country cottage around at the weekend, I honestly cannot offer you a better solution. With the accommodation and volume that you get in something like this. So the particular asking price on this is going to be 449,950 UK pounds, tax paid from new. So I do have lots of photos and some drone shots. I'm not going to do a run out sea trial on this one, as it's a bit tricky out of Bembridge Harbour to do that. But if you'd like to arrange to come and see her, I say we set up a ferry trip over and come and see me on board and see what it all offers. It's always, if you'd like to get in touch directly, it's james@sunseekersouthampton.com, or the mobile is +44 7747 686 587. Hope you've enjoyed looking around with us today. Check back soon, and hopefully we'll get you on the water soon.